You are listening to Vicky Goes On and On with Vicky Stokes and James Wells.
How are you?
Some people are just never happy, are they?
No, I'm not. I haven't been well the last couple of days though.
No,
So
me
I've been
neither.
a bit.
I've got a bit of a cough.
Oh shit, son.
Oh.
See, I just feel a bit sick, but I think I know why I feel sick.
Is it too much whiskey?
So no.
That Canadian rye or whatever.
No, that's all gone.
Oh.
So the night before last, we had a vegan macaroni and cheese, which was a lot of cauliflower and a lot of broccoli.
Oh, I see.
And was also a lot of almond
Vegan
milk
cheese.
and vegan cheese. And we made a whole batch, but we didn't realise how big this batch would be. Really, you only need to do like a little side of it. So in the end, we ate that as a whole thing, and I've just felt sick ever since. Like windy, trap wind, burping, and just like sick.
I mean, those vegetables are known for those side effects.
Yeah, and so yesterday, more so yesterday, I felt sick. Today I still feel a little bit icky, but I'm getting there. So I might have to.
What's with the veganism?
Just
come on, vegan cheese. I've heard
it's nice.
Shut up.
It is. It's right.
Even Ramesh is like.
Don't get me wrong. I would still eat normal cheese. I've told you this before, haven't I? We're not. Would you say are we flexitarians? Is that what we are? Yeah. Just that's what we fancied. That's what we had in the fridge,
Hipsters.
and we gave it a go.
All the cool cats.
But then on the Monday we had a McDonald's.
you can get vegetarian stuff from.
Yeah, but I don't always want a vegetarian. Tomorrow we'll have barbecue. You know,
you can have halloumi on a barbecue.
All food is fair
game.
It's fair game. Yeah, so it's not like but
I really want like really good artificial meat, because I was listening to that Off Menu podcast, and they were talking about fake meat and stuff, and that some meat eaters or like non-vegetarians are a bit like, well, no, I wouldn't eat it even if it was fake. And they were saying, and I agree, does sort of suggest that some meat eaters just want death to have happened, to enjoy their dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not like that. I just think that chicken tastes really good and beef tastes really good, unfortunately.
But you do need to.
But if it was like grown in a lab, brilliant.
Yeah.
Not.
But I know what you mean.
Grown in a lab.
But if you have to test these things out. There's different. Yeah. So
and I
for
leave
instance,
that to the others.
So Quorn. But
I met it.
So their chicken nuggets taste exactly the fucking same as McDonald's chicken nuggets. And I can genuinely vouch for that.
It's not necessarily chicken nuggets that I would miss were I to be.
No, I know what you mean.
Vegetarian.
An actual chicken nugget from McDonald's isn't the most pure of meat anyway, is it? Let's be honest. But
it's more like I want a good steak, and the minute they invent a great steak, and no cow has to. Yeah, you can get some that are pretty good.
But you have to pay for them. They're not like cheap.
Well, you do have to pay for.
Yeah, you can't just go and steal them.
You can't, even though people do.
Well, then that's the thing. Like, what
shoplift from Aldi.
You can get good meat substitutes now.
Yes,
and what annoys
me,
and what annoys me is that people go, "Oh yeah, but they're so expensive." It's like, yeah, but if you want a decent cut of steak, sometimes you're going to have to pay probably about the same much, not maybe even more. So
also, I do prefer buying more expensive meat if it's like RSPCA approved or
sure,
ethically farmed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've always known don't buy cheap sausages, because you don't.
So what's the matter? Why aren't you well? Apart from the cough.
Just the cough.
Have you been somewhere which has made you go, fuck, have I got there?
Well, only to the shop. I don't really go anywhere. I don't think.
Did you wear a mask though?
I bought this from Poundland the other day. It's a reusable one, because I do have loads of disposable ones.
Put it in the wash then, do you?
Yeah, and I've ordered some filters to go in it, so I don't even have to wash it that often. But
did you
podcast listeners won't be able to see this, but don't you think I look a bit like Shredder?
You do. Yeah, it's got that shape to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the
So
cartoon, though.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you could do an amazing Shredder cosplay.
No, that
But
involves seeing people though.
so did
But what I
you
was thinking is I
use
could
all
just
them ones up?
copy.
You
It's
could copy
wasteful,
that.
isn't it? Yeah, I can copy this.
Yeah.
It was just that it's wasteful. Every time I go out, I take 2 or 3 with me.
Yeah. You'd rather donate them to the hospital or something and then use your
I
reusable.
doubt that they're PPE compliant. I don't think the NHS buys their masks from Amazon.
Okay.
So, what is our topic? Coronavirus. You wanted to do a catch up on that?
Yeah. It's been. I mean, it's been a while, isn't it? Since.
Yeah, and we're in
So
stage
coronavirus was
2
actually our
or something.
first episode, wasn't it?
Yes.
And
By
obviously
necessity.
because everyone's talking about it. So a lot. And when did we do that? That was March, was it?
Yep.
So we're now in August. So a lot's happened since when it comes to corona.
And yet
nothing's happened.
Nothing's happened. Oh Jesus! It's just like one long Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah.
If life is like a game of Sims, the person being the controller of the Sims, the player, is being almost as bad as me at playing Sims. I'm so bad at Sims.
Are you like that all the time though, or
what bad at Sims?
Yeah, like is this I've been playing it for 2 hours now. I'm a bit bored. I'm just going to be like there.
No, because my my objective is to be good, is to like get loads of money and get to be the best, I don't know, whatever career path I'm on. Right, but what happens is that, they cook dinner and then the whole house burns down. And then I'm like bothered by ghosts for the rest of the game. That was very early quarantine.
Yeah.
Sims 4 I was playing.
Oh, okay.
The Tiger King era of
quarantine. Of quarantine. That feels like ages ago now.
Yeah. And I didn't watch it.
And you still haven't watched it?
And I still haven't watched it. No.
Yeah, that early stage of quarantine, it felt quite special then. Like that whole announcement, and suddenly everyone, almost in a weird way,
a little bit like
a shit Christmas.
No, it felt a little bit like, I imagine, Boris's speech when he was like, "We're going to lockdown." I had that same sort of feeling as when people were gathering around the wireless in 1939, listening to "We Are at War with Germany." Like it felt quite
unified.
Scary and momentous. Yes, unifying.
That's why I think of Christmas, because it's one of them only times of the year where that a majority of the country, if not the world, are doing the same thing. So when we all got told that we're in lockdown, we all started arguing again indoors.
That's true.
But yeah, I know what you mean. The problem is though, what these past few months have shown me that I didn't already know this or thought this, was that fucking hell, I don't trust people. Like, can you imagine? So you mentioned like wartime and stuff. Can you imagine if people had the attitude that we have now back then? Can you imagine when it would have come to like a blackout or something?
Yes. Can I just say something about that? People bang on about the Blitz spirit and how we were nicer in the wartime, and it's all bullshit. It's all looking back at history with rose-tinted glasses.
It is.
Do you know how much crime was committed?
Yes.
And they go on and on and on about.
But when they talk about
in the olden days,
turn your lights off and the blackout, if someone had put their lights on, we would have been bombed.
We were. People did. They got fined. The ARP had to go round.
They don't get fined now.
Police
had
to go round. No, this is the problem. And I tell you something else that I've got a problem with. And I went on a rant about it at work the other day. At work, in inverted commas.
At work from home.
Yes. Ugh, what a life.
Yeah.
What exactly are the police doing?
Nothing.
This rant was prompted by there is yet another barber's shop opening up on Kilburn High Road.
It's like Gravesend.
Within
like one
within
on every
the
corner.
state.
Yeah.
it's not even one on every corner here. It's fucking ridiculous. Within 2 blocks, there are 7 nail salons. Anyway, on Twitter, somebody had said, well, drug dealers have got to clean their money
I
somehow.
was just about to say,
right?
apparently they're fronts for other things.
There's no apparently about it, James.
Well,
they're definitely
I'm
fronts
playing
for other
devil's
things.
advocate.
You
I'm
can
not,
do allegedly as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's a fact that most of them are fronts for something. Money laundering, sex trafficking, I don't know, because of drugs or whatever, I don't know. But they simply cannot all be sustained in this economy when there are 20 others on
20
such
others.
a short...
I've said this as well.
Not, right?
So how much competition have you got? Especially every time you walk past them, there's one at the most person in there getting their haircut.
I mean, it's just
one
so
person.
obvious. It's very obvious to everybody.
Yeah.
So why aren't the police raiding them all the fucking time? And I'm not suggesting that they're not doing that at all.
No.
And I'm not suggesting that they're not fighting crime in some way. But what is it that they're doing? Somebody was murdered outside the McDonald's the other day.
What, near you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We happen to know the family of the person, unfortunately. It's all very sad.
Sorry to hear that.
And they have arrested somebody, but I can tell you now that it is not because there was a police investigation that they know who did it. It is because somebody said, this is who did it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
There wasn't any sort of evidence gathering, I don't think. Do you know what I mean?
It's You're basically saying the police didn't have to do the legwork. That's basically
exactly. Right? They're not finding anybody.
Yeah.
They're not. There's gang crime out of the bloody wazoo.
Yeah.
I was in the pub about 2 years ago now, because I've lived in Kilburn now for about 4 years. I was in a pub opposite the Aldi. Somebody came into the pub selling meat that they just shoplifted from the Aldi.
Yeah.
Where are the police?
Yeah.
Where is the crime prevention?
Yeah.
There's rubbish strewn everywhere, and I know that I'm not talking about like this zero tolerance policy that New York had, and I'm not saying that that's what we need to do, but what is it that the police are actually doing? I want to know, and I know that their numbers have been cut.
Yeah, and you're not saying that as in, people.
I'm not saying that.
Some people say that as like, what are you doing? As in to say,
no,
you aren't doing anything. You're genuinely asking, what are you doing?
Yes,
you just
I would like to know.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
Where do the funds go? Where does the time and the effort go?
Where are the police raids? I've lived around here, like I say, 4 years. I've seen one police raid on a shop, and it was because of immigration. And I sort of feel like, of all of the crimes around here, that's the one you're bothering with?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There are motorcycle gangs, moped gangs, right? I mean, I want to make it more glamorous, perhaps. But teenage boys on their Boris bikes, riding around in a horde, grabbing handbags, mobile phones and things. Where are the police? And I know that they have had cuts to their funding. I know that they've had cuts to their numbers. But I would like to know what it is that they are doing. They still exist.
Yeah, of course. But this is the thing. You are not the only person that thinks this. Most of the British public know this. So when the government turn around and say, if you don't wear your mask, you're going to get fined, or, you can be arrested, the British public know. They're the fuck going to bother doing that.
Well,
and
also
they know. So then they don't bother going out without masks.
When you have people like Dominic Cummings who are flagrantly breaking the rules, I do think, well, why the fuck should I do it if you're not going to do it? They talk about role models, right? They talk about role models all the time.
Yeah, they should be the role models.
Yes, they are role models, not the footballers and the actors and models.
Yeah.
It's the government. The people in charge. They should behave with decorum and respect, and they don't.
Yeah.
And what really grinds my fucking gears is people still, but Boris Johnson is doing a very good job. Where is he doing a good job? People say about Donald Trump. I mean, luckily we're not in that country, but I mean, it's not like we're much better.
Yeah, but I honestly don't feel. I mean, maybe there's one or two exceptions. I mean, New Zealand springs to mind, but I don't feel like the human race in general have handled this very well. If I'm honest, I think they
I
all.
think the
I think
human
everyone's a
race
fucking
have a
selfish
lot
dick.
to be
Yeah.
answered
Oh,
for
God, yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah.
But do you know, and I think I said it before, we must remember that there are good people in the world. There are kind people. There are the people
There are,
doing
but
good
unfortunately,
things.
all the ones.
I wear my mask.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
but
know,
then.
I read a really interesting thing today. Actually, it was a Tumblr post, and somebody had written something like, "I really hate it when people are horrible to kids. Can't we just try to show them that there's good in the world, right?"
Yeah.
And then somebody had responded with, "Yeah, but you know, the world isn't good." And somebody had replied to that with, "Well, you do your best to make it good."
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Individually, you make those decisions every
Yeah.
day. Like we often say, don't be a dick. Come on now.
But this whole time has, for me, shown how dickish people can be. People don't care.
I think that fear makes people behave poorly.
It does, but I also think ignorance does as well, and laziness. They just can't be bothered. And like we said the other week about the mask wearing, that if it was the other way around and the government was saying to us, you need to wear the mask for your protection, not to protect others, a lot more people will be quick to wear it. I actually think, why the fuck? The government shouldn't have gone into detail. They should have just said, wear a mask. Then they get the fucking medical advisors going, oh, it's more for other people. No, don't say this shit.
Well, it's also, though, that on packages of masks, it has to, legally say this does not protect you from various ailments.
It's ridiculous. The hoops and the red tape nowadays that you have to go through. You can't,
Like a packet of peanuts where it says this product may contain peanuts.
Yeah.
Just
I
in
mean,
case.
yeah. I mean, going back to the
Unsure
Second
what
World
you're
War,
buying.
there was no fucking I'm sure there wasn't any disclaimers when you got a fucking gas mask.
No, but that's another thing, is the government gave everyone a gas mask.
Well, yeah.
Perhaps if the government had sent out packages of reusable face masks, like they did in LA. I don't know about California in general, but I know that they did in LA. Maybe people would have been like, "Oh, free mask." You know what people are like? They like free shit.
I just think the human race have handled it badly in general. I don't think I'm not a government supporter at all. You know that. But I do think it's very easy to lay all the blame on the government. I do think it's a bit of both. I mean, for me, there's things.
Well, yes, there is. Of course, there's individual responsibility.
But for me, there's things that the government have said or advised. So I'm like, well, that doesn't sound right. I'm not going to do that. I'll do this. I'll use my common sense. So,
yes. Well,
but
the latest rules, which I'm so confused about, I just
yeah,
am doing what I think is right, which is stay in as much as I can. Also, I don't really want to go out. It's too hot.
Stay in, but go out.
I mean, if
you don't go out, wear a mask or don't wear a mask.
And then I tell you, when I sort of was like, oh, shut up. When they said you have to, 2 weeks beforehand, they say on the 24th of July, you have to wear a mask in a shop. And I just thought, what's happening to the virus in these 2 weeks then?
Yeah.
Is it on holiday for summer?
Yeah.
Problem with drinking lager is I burp.
Well, I've got trap wind, so we're a joy.
This is the wind version, the wind episode. Well, I drank 2 bottles of wine last night. So,
do you think? I definitely have drunk a lot more during lockdown. In the past few months, because of lockdown, it's become a routine. I mean, I've been isolating because of the diabetes. So when the pubs weren't open at all and they were doing, the micro pubs were doing takeout deliveries, our neighbours that would get theirs would also get ours. So it got to a point where every week, it was like every Friday, it was like, do you want some? And then we'd end up doing a massive order, even if we didn't need it, and we'd be drinking it. It's just something else to do, isn't it? Watch Netflix and have a drink. There's nothing else to do.
I don't do that. I only drink when I'm I was going to say when I'm with people, but let's say that Zoom is like being with someone.
Yeah.
I only drink when I'm in company.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why. I don't enjoy being drunk.
I like to have a nice whiskey on a Saturday night on my own with the TV on. That's good.
Nah.
But yeah,
I think
I
it's the
mean,
social aspect of
I was
drinking
going
that
to
I
say
really like.
drinking for you, especially, but obviously for a lot of people, is a social thing as well. So
Mm.
you were doing
I
that before the lockdown. When you were drinking at pubs with friends and with me
Yes,
and
or
stuff.
well, they would come round.
Yeah. Whereas now this is,
People.
I guess this is the alternative, isn't it? It's
The
we
I
can have a drink
suppose the
together, but we're
problem,
obviously via the internet.
yes, which I'm okay with
Yeah.
via the internet.
You know.
It's not that I'm drinking more often, let's say, but I think I'm drinking more because in a pub, no matter how quickly or slowly you're drinking, one follows that social convention of waiting for the other
Other
person to
person,
finish their
yeah.
drink.
Yeah. Well, there's been times
When
when
you're alone,
yeah,
yes, when
we've
you're
been
alone,
talking and I'll be talking and then you'll go to the fridge while I'm talking and you'll get,
yes, because it's
regardless
only
of what
there.
I'm on.
It's
Yeah,
not like I'm rude.
exactly. No,
Like, let's
but
make it clear that
you're
I'm not
so
just
right.
wandering off.
You know, out of politeness and that whole rounds, you know, oh, it's my
Yes, and I
round.
mean maybe maybe that's different in the States, say, where they don't do rounds. You know, people buy their individual drinks. It's
Fuckers,
quite
selfish
weird
bastards.
in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. I remember I went to a pub with Mead in New York, a bar, sorry, and it was like me, Mead, and a couple of her friends, one of whom I knew
Hmm.
relatively well. So we get to the bar and Mead sort of leans over and whispers, "Remember, they don't do rounds here." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to buy you a drink and I might buy Brian a drink because, you know, he's like a pal." And the bartender comes over and takes individually our orders because
Yeah.
there were like 10 of us. And then I had to be very clear and say, "I'm buying a drink for this person, and myself." And even the bartender was a bit like, "Oh, okay. All right. That's
Yeah.
odd." And I was like, "It's
Rather
just
than do a
so..."
tab or check for each individual person, he's like, oh.
Yeah, he was like,
How
"Oh,
weird. How it's a weird
it is
concept,
weird."
isn't it?
And then I went to an Irish pub that was better.
Oh God, you know.
Actually, you know, it was actually run by an Irishman. And I went up to the bar
They'll buy you a drink and they
and
won't even know you. Like, this one's on
oh,
me.
quite.
Fucking
But
hell.
no, I mean the guy who was running the pub was a bar was Irish, and
Okay.
I went in and I said, "Look, can I just buy 2 drinks for me and my friend and pay for it now like a pub
Yeah.
instead of this like getting a check and whatever?" And
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh, are you English?" And I was like, "Yes." And I
Yes.
can't. I'm just like at the end of my tether. Do you know?
Yeah.
You know when, of course, it's not such a weird thing to be culturally bamboozled by, but it was just like it was really hot and I was just really hacked off with the whole fucking thing. I just wanted a normal fucking transaction,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I just was like, "Oh, I just want to buy a drink." And he was
Yeah.
like, okay, we'll do it the British way, don't worry."
Thank
Like,
God he understood.
and I was like, "Thank you, Niall," from, I think he was from Dublin. Shout out to Niall.
Shout out to Niall. Thank you, Niall. So you haven't been to a pub, have you?
In my life, never.
No, no. I
No,
mean, since they've
not
reopened,
since March.
is that because you still don't feel safe doing it?
There's that, but there's also the whole social distancing thing to me in a pub feels quite incongruous. You know, even though I'm not talking necessarily to other people in a pub, I like the idea that we're all in the pub together. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
And it's supposed to be a place where
other
you don't.
people, yeah, other people's hubbub creates the atmos, and
Yeah,
then,
of
you know, you
course.
all have
But
a nice...
also, whether regardless of the alcohol, it's a place where you don't have to think. So if you go into a pub and you've got to think about every step you take,
Oh,
like
mate.
so before they when they a couple of weeks before it looked like they were going to reopen, we were sitting in a park with neighbours, obviously social distancing. And we were coming up with all these ideas of how the local pubs could do it so we could all go to a pub together. But by the end of it, all these ideas we come up with, it didn't even sound like a pub anymore.
No,
So you're just like, oh,
exactly.
what's the
I
fucking
mean,
point?
some of them
What's the
it's like you've
point?
got screens, you've got
Yeah.
you must remain 2 meters apart in the
What's the
pub
point?
that's on this corner. They've got like perspex screens so that, you know, each table is sort of cordoned off in a way. And I just sort of think, you know, as I say, even though I'm not talking to other people necessarily, it's not to say that I've never spoke to
No, but you
strangers in
might,
pubs, but you know, it's not really what I'm there for.
yeah,
I'm there to
no,
see my friend.
yeah,
Um, it just feels quite clinical, and
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
rather, like, why not just come to my flat then
yeah.
and
If I'm
sit
going to be that close to you as a,
only,
yeah, then you might as well just come to my flat.
and it's
So,
cheaper,
but
because
but you know what? Sitting in your flat doesn't make the British any money, does it? It doesn't sort out the economy if they're just
well,
sitting
it
in
fucking
your
does,
flat.
because I'm buying
But you're buying
food
cheaper
from
drinks,
local.
aren't you?
I know,
You're
I
not letting
know,
these businesses. It's yeah.
I
What
know, I
what
know.
annoys me? It's the same with pubs, and it's the same with all these pricks that are now going on holiday. What fucks me off is it's been what 4 or 5 months, and they're all so fucking desperate to go to the pub or go on holiday, and then they moan because they've then got to do another quarantine when they come back because things have changed and there's certain
Hmm.
countries like Spain that have now peaked. Yeah, because you fuckers were so desperate to go on holiday. Like, I don't get that. It's 5 months. 5 months is nothing. If it had been a year or two, I said to Hayley the other day, like, we ain't going nowhere. We're not going on holiday. We're not going to the
No.
pub. We'll probably, the next time we'll go on holiday will probably be, well, when it's obviously safe, but that
Yes.
could be a year or two. But
Yeah.
imagine that feeling when you eventually go. Like, are you
Do
that
you know?
fucking
Do you know what
desperate
it
after
is? Do you know what
five
it is,
months?
James?
I can get that feeling
It
after five
reminds me.
months.
It reminds me of, when you're at school and there's like some naughty kids in the classroom, and you're all being held back because those 2 or 3 naughty kids aren't not being naughty,
Yeah,
and like, so everybody's being punished
yeah,
because of those pricks.
yeah,
That's what this reminds me of.
yeah. I
Yeah,
get that.
because
Yeah,
we're all paying the forfeit of, i.e., this lockdown is going to be lasting longer than it needs to,
yeah.
because some selfish pricks want to go
Can't be
Bournemouth.
patient. Yeah. Oh, fucking the Bournemouth
Just
beach thing.
be,
Did you
just
did you
be
see
patient.
the news article, the
I
BBC
saw the
News thing?
images.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple of pricks on there, and I'm not being horrible, but I am being horrible. But the type of people that were at Bournemouth are the type of people that are probably whinging that they didn't get their £10 holiday out of the sun. They're the
Yeah.
type of people,
Yeah, no,
and
I
they're
know.
standing on the beach
The
having
sort
these
of
big,
people who watch Mrs. Brown's
yeah,
Boys.
exactly the same people.
Let's be fucking honest here.
And they are standing on the beach and they're saying to these news reporters, oh, like, I didn't think it would be that busy, so I come down. And then, oh, I can't believe that there's so many people here. So you're one of
Yeah,
them.
you're one of
You're
them. Yeah,
fucking one
no,
of
I
them.
know.
You know?
There was one woman I saw, and she said something like, oh, she's on the beach with her sun hat and her sunglasses. So she's clearly not just around.
Yeah.
She's clearly gone there to do this. And she said, well, I just think it's funny that, everybody's being so selfish, and, they've all come here. And I think because what it is you want special dispensation.
Mm,
You want special privileges. For
yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Because you own a big hat.
Yeah. Even the locals that went, oh, I can't believe you live in Bournemouth. You live near the beach. What do you expect? What did you expect? Like, did you expect people not to turn up? I mean, if you've got that much faith in the British public, then you're a mug.
But it's not just the British public,
No,
though.
it's
Look at
not. But
America. Look
no,
at Florida.
it's
Look at
not.
all those spring breakers back in March, and
But
all these youngsters were going, "Oh well, I'm not going to get it, so it doesn't matter. I'm young.
yeah. So do you
People who are
think?
young are getting it."
I was going to say though, do you think? I mean, and this is the thing. It's not just the British public, but obviously we live in Britain. So first and foremost, we're going to talk
Yes,
about
of
the British
course.
public. But in general, part of me feels like it is the younger generation because I mean we were like we walked
I
up.
don't.
So
I don't think so.
but with this, so this is what I was going to say. So we walked up to Windmill Hill the other day. We walked past the pub, and they've got a massive garden in this pub. And we looked through the window, and there was all these young people by the bar. Looked over the fence in the garden. There was no fucker there, no fucker. And the thing is, and what I said to Haley is that what's happened is that I think the pubs that these young people used to go to, or the clubs, obviously don't have a garden, or
Mm,
there's obviously a reduced amount, a reduced capacity for the
yeah.
places they used to go to. So they've gone looking for somewhere else. And because all these pubs have had no income coming in for a good couple of months, they're not going to refuse that. So now what's happened is that pub's just turned into something that it never used to be. They
Yeah, but
don't
did you
care.
hear?
But
The
it's not
problem
just.
is.
But this is the thing. I wasn't just going to say it was young people. So you've got the young people that think they're indestructible, and you've got the older
Mm,
people who maybe lived through a Second World War and just do
No,
their
they
own thing
didn't.
anyway.
No, they didn't. No, they
Well,
didn't.
a lot of them have
Listen,
died off
the
now anyway,
Second World,
surely.
yes, exactly.
But they
These
were like
people who go on about
toddlers,
being
weren't
in the
they? They
Second
were
World, yeah,
toddlers.
they're like, oh, I survived the Blitz. So you didn't. No, you didn't.
You were helped out by your parents,
We
probably,
don't have
and a
that.
little bit of luck.
Some look at that poor the poor guy. What is it, Captain Tim or whatever, who walked a billion miles for the
Captain
NHS.
Tom.
He's like 100,
yeah.
right, or 101 maybe.
Yeah.
That's the generation that fought for this country.
He's a
They're
sir.
old and dead.
He's a sir.
Because he walked
Sir
a bit.
Captain Tom. Oh, he's done all right, bless him. Like,
yeah, but he shouldn't have had to. He shouldn't have had to.
No, he
the
shouldn't
NHS
have had to.
should have been funded well enough.
Yes.
All you need to do is make these big companies pay the right amount of tax, and that would be it. It would solve so many problems.
Yeah, but the problem is the
Jeff
people
Bezos has got like $18 billion. You don't need that amount of money.
This country are best friends with the people that run these companies.
I know that,
and that's the problem.
It's corruption.
Yeah,
that's the
bollocks.
problem.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but I did
enjoy him, of course.
But I did enjoy the early aspects of lockdown with that kind of stuff. The
fucking clap for the fucking nurses.
That didn't.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Give them a pay rise.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Clapping ain't gonna help.
No,
Fuck
I totally
agree.
I totally agree. But the Joe Public can't give them any money. You can't. It was their way.
They can vote for the right
parties. Yes. But
and not vote for Brexit.
You've got to start the line somewhere. You'd like to think that after all this is over, then
James, they just had a debate in the House of Commons where they decided not to increase the pay the pay of nurses.
No, this is what I was going to say.
They just did it.
No, but this is what I was going to say. You'd like to think that when all this is over, when it comes to us voting again, people might.
Oh, don't know.
That's what I'm saying. But
I don't know.
You've got to start
I remember
somewhere.
the 80s.
Well, yeah.
We need a revolution.
We do.
This country sorely needs a revolution.
Are you thinking like a French revolution with like death?
Yeah, man. Kill everyone. Kill them all.
Well, I mean,
I did say I was complaining to.
We're reducing the population at the moment with the.
Well, yeah, pandemic. And I was kind of complaining to Susan the other day, and I said I thought you remember I used to say a plague would sort this out, but it hasn't. It's just and she was like, I know, but give it time. And I was like, Susan.
Do you know what though? I agree with Susan. So, I actually, and I remember it was a couple of months ago, and it would have been like around the Bournemouth Gate or whatever you want to call it. And I was getting, obviously where I live, I was getting so fed up with seeing the same people in groups,
fraternizing.
Yeah, ignoring the and at this point we were at peak, so it was ridiculous. Just like ignoring what was advised. It was really fucking getting on my nerves, and I was, and obviously it's never the case because they're the ones that end up indestructible and surviving this shit, and it's the poor innocents that catch it and die. But I was getting so annoyed, and I was just saying to Hayley, fucking hell, I just hope they all get it. I hope they just fucking die. And I ended up, and she was like, oh, hopefully they will. Hopefully they'll all be in that group and they'll catch it. And I ended up quoting Ebenezer Scrooge from A Christmas Carol. And I just said to her, I was like, well, they better hurry up and do it and decrease the surplus population. And she was like, all right, fucking hell.
Jesus Christ.
Like, it's got to that point where I'm turning into a Scrooge. Do
you not remember the end of that story?
He turns out good in the end, so
yeah.
I'm holding on to that.
Waiting for your redemption arc.
Yeah. I'll be
You'll be like, you boy, buy the biggest goose.
What day is this? It's the day the pandemic finished. Hey!
Every time I see that, or I read it one time, but every time I see that end bit, I think, is the butcher going to be open on Christmas Day? Really? Is it? I don't think so.
Well, back in Victorian times, it would have been.
Are you sure, though?
Yeah.
Can you give me a citation, please? Some sort of evidence. I need a peer-reviewed paper. Thank you.
All right. I'll have a look. But it was different times then. It was the best
my
of times. It was the worst of times.
I don't want death for people necessarily.
Well,
I
you're
don't know,
getting
man.
it in 2020.
Yeah, I'm getting
You're
it.
getting it.
Did you hear about there was a pub in Aberdeen that 17 cases of coronavirus. They opened up, then they got 17 cases. They've had to close again. I just think, well, yeah, because you're not walking to the pub and getting a test, are you?
No. Well,
Maybe that's what we should
did
do.
they not just get confused and they were doing a stock take and it was 17 cases of corona?
That's such a bad joke. I'm not even going to do a polite laugh. You're not getting nothing from me.
Bollocks to you. Oh, you're actually walking away. Fine.
I am walking away. I'm getting another bud.
I'm surprised you're drinking bud, actually.
It's because I had two bottles last night. So,
why not?
The light stuff.
That's not light, though, is it? Bud Light's light.
4.5.
Oh, okay.
Compared to, what was I drinking? 13.5.
Yeah, that is a difference.
It is funny, isn't it, that wine is a girly drink, but it's so much more alcoholic than beer.
Yeah, I love wine, though.
It's like, come on, lads.
I love wine and I really like Prosecco as well. Drunk a lot of that during lockdown.
Yeah.
Just celebrating end times. That's what I've been doing.
All we need is a bit of heroin. Then the party's starting.
Yeah. Well, maybe if it carries on the way it is.
I did. Kelly and I watched 28 Days Later in the cinema.
Okay.
And on the way back home, we walked through this park. I don't know why we did that. Anyway, it was like late at night and we just seen this horrible film.
Was it empty park?
It was an empty park. Oh, it was so scary. Anyway, and we sat down to sort of gather ourselves and we discussed this harrowing movie that we'd just seen. And she was like, oh, what would you do in that situation? And I was like, honestly, Cal, I wouldn't be able to live because they weren't zombies, right? Let's just nip that in the bud right now. But I'm going to call them zombies. I said, there's fast-moving zombies. I can't hide. They're too erratic for me, right? I said, what I'll do is I'd take some great drugs. And I don't do drugs. So it was very shocking, I think, for her to hear me say, I would just do a shit ton of drugs and go out peacefully. She was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So that's what I need is a stockpile of class 1 drugs, class A drugs.
Well, I can't help you with that, I'm afraid. But...
Well, you can send me all of your insulin because you can overdose on insulin.
Oh, that's true. Okay,
madam.
We'll give that a go.
So.
Well, we won't give that a go, but
no. No, I'm not suggesting that's what's going to happen. But
I did think at the start of all this, I did wonder, is this the start of The Walking Dead? It turns out that the coronavirus, COVID-19, was the catalyst for the undead returning.
And it wasn't. How disappointing.
Yeah, like nothing exciting's come out of it.
You still watch The Walking Dead, don't you know? Yeah.
Again, lockdown, it's made me catch up on loads of stuff. I've been so productive. I've been so productive. Not just with TV, everything. Like there's bits and bobs around the house. Finished scrapbooks, fucking painted shit up.
All right, show
the
off.
House, like literally. This is what gets on my nerves. And then people moan because they're bored, and it's like,
oh, I'm not bored.
Something. No, I'm not saying about you, but I'm saying like the amount of people that have moaned.
You don't have to start banging on about. I'm Mary Condoed my house.
But these are the people that are going, that are demanding that shops and restaurants.
I started a pom-pom rug and I gave up.
Yeah, but if more people started a pom-pom rug, then there might not be.
There'll be more pom-pom rugs in the world. Half-finished ones, anyway.
Which I would rather more pom-pom rugs than more racism and peaks and.
I know. I mean, the problem is I think that
people haven't got no imagination or creativity.
Well, no, I think that people
they haven't. They're fucking arseholes.
Are scared of spending time alone with their thoughts. If you see what I mean, they just want to go out and
drink their troubles away,
socialize. Yeah, I mean, I drink my troubles away, I
No,
suppose.
but you don't, because you chat, you talk, you do things, you know.
But it's like there are so many people that I know who say things like to me, like, "Oh, you're so creative and you do all these things," and I'm like, "Yeah, but because you got to do something, right?" But they're not doing anything. It seems they're watching telly and having a wank.
Yeah, and
I suppose.
so they got bored of that, and they're like, "Oh, when's things going to open up again? I can't be doing this all the time." It's like,
Yeah, I don't
I'm
know.
sorry, I'm sorry,
I just
there are
think
far
people are
too
just.
many simpletons
Oh yeah,
in the
I
UK.
agree.
There's far too many of them now.
In the world.
Yeah, but I don't live in the world. I live
You
in
do
the
live in the
UK.
world. What are you, Donald Trump? Did you see that fucking stupid interview he did?
The
What a
the
lunatic.
Axios one,
Yeah. Oh
it's
my
so
God. I watched
funny.
the whole thing. It's not
Oh,
funny.
I
It's not
mean,
funny. This is the problem.
but I said to you,
We
didn't I?
we are like,
You
oh, it's
either
humorous. It's
look,
not humor.
no,
Oh.
you either look at the comedy value of it, or you're like, actually, no, this is really depressing. I mean, hopefully, do you
You can
reckon
hold those two
after?
thoughts.
So, do you think the past few months of COVID-19? Do you think the way he's handled it? Do you think there's any chance that it would have
Yes.
destroyed him and he won't get in again?
Oh no.
Do you think he still
No.
will?
I I I don't think he definitely will, but I don't think he definitely won't.
Are you like me? I just think if he got in once, I just think.
I think that some of his supporters are so fanatical,
They're stupid as
and
well. So
well, it's sort of like it's sort of like being in a cult, and
yeah,
that's worrying, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
how many? Look, there are some cults. One's very litigious, so I'm not going to say which one it is, but it's a very famous one that we're all aware of, very popular with celebrities. That we all know quite a lot about it and think that's nuts. How
the
can
one's that.
anybody, the one? I'm not going to say it, so because they're crazy, and I'm not.
Right, they're going to
I don't.
find us and kill us.
Well, they might. No, they won't kill us, but they'll sue us, and I have 20 quid. So I don't actually. I've got cash money in my wallet. My point being that we look at those followers of that particular group, and we're like, oh, but it's crazy. How can you believe that? How can you
Yeah.
how can you fall into all of that? It's because it's a cult, right? And they use very powerful techniques to brainwash people. And I feel like the same things happened with Trump supporters.
Yeah.
It's not even that they're towing the party line and being a sort of a born and bred Republican, and I understand that things like political affiliation is almost like a football team where if your dad supports them, then you support them, and that's the end of it. And you can never change your mind, right?
Yeah.
That is true for a lot of people. I don't think that that's true when it comes to Trump. I think that some of his supporters are just like, I love Trump, and the things he says are great, and they
Without
are.
actually listening to what he's saying.
I mean, they can't, because nothing that he says makes any sense. Even the words that he uses.
Do you think it's the same as someone being a massive fan of a music artist, loves all their albums, and then one time they bring out an album which is totally different and not that good, but because they love them so much, they're like, oh no, it's great, it's great. Do you think it's that kind of mentality?
Yes, because it's a fanaticism.
Yeah. So even when they do something shit, there's always there's always a reason for it.
Of course. Well,
like,
it's just like, no, because it's that great. But then when I think about it, actually most people are stupider than I give them credit for.
Yeah.
I mean, if you live in a world where the only way is Essex has won a BAFTA.
Yep, I agree. And this is what I mean. The people that
and
them type of
Gogglebox is so popular.
They're the ones that are fucking up this whole lockdown thing. I'm sorry, they are.
No, they are. Yes, of course.
Because they can give a shit.
Because all of my friends who are very sensible, right-minded people are doing exactly what we're doing. Staying in, not going to the pub, a few people have gone to coffee shops, and Susan went to a coffee shop, and I said, well, I'd be a bit reluctant actually. And she said, well, we sat outside. No, she said it was really empty and it was quite a big coffee shop. Then quite a few people came in, so they left, and I was like,
that's the problem, isn't it? Is that if everyone's got the mentality of, oh, it'll probably be quiet, and everyone goes, well, it's not going to be quiet, is it? So, but yeah, like, I don't want to sound snobby, but these people that watch that shit and flout the guidelines and whatever, they're the ones that they'd rather get some Instagram likes because they were the first ones to go into a pub when it got opened up, rather than just be safe.
This whole social media life is nuts.
It's like, and
so crazy.
It is.
I've got friends who are like, and then I went on their Instagram account and I saw that this person did this thing, and I'm like, what the fuck? This sounds like so much energy. I say it to their faces, but I'm like, it sounds like so much energy is being used, and I go on Facebook a lot. I go on Twitter a lot. I go on Instagram a bit, but they're just, things are so emotionally invested in these apps.
Because again, it's all that
crazy.
It's that social media filter, isn't it? Of, oh, look at how amazing this person's life is, and it's like,
well, and also I read a thing that said that when you get a like or a retweet or whatever, whatever platform you're on, but when you get a notification, your brain releases dopamine, a small amount of dopamine, and that's why it's really addictive.
You feel like validated, and that people.
So it's interesting, isn't it? And
I think a lot of that is that in general. People want validation, and if you're stuck indoors and you can't go out and do anything, people aren't noticing you. So it's like, oh, let's go out and stuff.
Well, we are tribal animals, and so we do want to be part of the herd.
I mean, I get it. It's not natural to be indoors all the time. But you know what?
Yeah, but it's not natural to live in a house, like.
No, but that's
what's
the thing.
Natural is living in a field.
Yeah, but like, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but just stay indoors, go for walks, be safe, sit in your garden.
The thing is, you do it. If we all do it, we would only have to do it for a very short amount of time.
Yeah, and it'd be it wouldn't be over, but it would be.
It'd certainly get shit done quicker. I mean, you talked about the past, but look, I was reading lots of things about how people coped during the Spanish flu, and the same sort of shit was going on then.
Yeah.
People not wearing masks and people being like, oh, we're just being treated like slaves, and I refuse to do it. It's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. Anyway. So what do you think about Spain? Because obviously that's gone all tits up again, isn't it? Because obviously they rely on tourism, don't they? So
yes, they do.
And that's backfired.
Well, the problem with Spain is they're too reliant on tourism. And that is going.
I mean, their economy was fucked anyway.
Their economy has been fucked for such a long time.
Yeah.
Partly because obviously Franco didn't help the situation. And then in the 70s, when Spain was sort of reopened, if you like, package holidays became de rigueur, and people from Britain went to the Costa del Sol because it's very sunny and very pretty, and we don't have that sort of weather for a longer period.
I'm off to sunny Spain, que viva España. Yeah.
So you're doing it in too much of a Spanish accent. That's not
sorry.
Because every time I've heard that song, it's drunk British people going que viva España.
Yeah, I'm slightly more cultured.
I want two cervezas and a tortilla and a
like paella. A side of coronavirus, that's
paella. Well, the thing is since Eastern Europe opened up and joined the tourist world,
yes,
package holidays to Spain became fewer and fewer,
because
and so they
years
were already.
Ago, Spain was like the big place to go, wasn't it?
Yes, and now it's all Croatia and places.
Yeah, because I remember being a kid, and a decent holiday would be somewhere like Blackpool, like a UK thing, and like a big holiday would be Spain. Whereas now, Spain and France are like the little holidays, and
What's
the big
funny for
holidays are
me,
like America.
yeah, well,
You know,
and actually what's happened is the small holidays aren't Spain and France, they're Croatia and Prague.
because they're cheaper.
Yes,
Well, Prague
yes.
maybe not so much anymore, but
Maybe not.
yes.
I
But I
don't
mean,
know. And
we
and
went
I
to
hear a lot about
Poland.
stag do's in
Yeah,
places like
yeah.
Croatia.
And we went to Poland a couple of years ago, and it was dead cheap, and it was lovely. It was gorgeous. But years ago, that would have been Spain, wouldn't it?
Mm.
So obviously,
See, my holiday when I was a kid was Spain, but it wasn't really a holiday.
because you were
Can I
seeing
just?
family.
Oh God, sitting in people's flats.
So how
Yeah,
in
great.
in the past in the past few months, how have your family coped with all of this?
Fine. I mean, my mum had stopped really going out very much anyway, and now we're just like, you cannot go to Asda with Dad. My dad
So your dad goes
does.
out and does all the
Yeah,
shopping
I
and
mean,
stuff.
he has for many years
Yeah,
done like the proper shop,
yeah.
and like when I was a
The big
kid,
shop.
the big shop,
Is it a
exactly.
weekly shop or is it a monthly shop? What's the
Oh,
big
he
shop?
does a fucking daily shop, that lunatic. I think probably weekly he does like a proper
Right.
shop.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, nothing's really changed except Phil was furloughed for a bit, but
What does Phil do?
he is a Sunny Flow engineer.
Hmm. Well, didn't you say one
So
of your brothers is he on the tubes?
he works on the underground at night. Yes, so he
Did
doesn't work for.
he? I know he obviously works at night, but did he find it different at all when it
Nah.
on the initial?
No, and I think he now does track maintenance, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
There's not very many of them anyway,
Yeah.
and they have to wear like coveralls and gloves and overalls and
Mm,
masks and things anyway.
mm,
So I don't think it's made much of a difference. And then the other one is just the mysterious one, who I don't know
mm.
what he does.
Creature of the
Weirdo.
night.
He is a creature of the night.
Mm.
And then my sister Michelle, she works in a bingo hall, so of course
So that closed
that
down,
was
didn't it?
closed.
Yeah.
So she was on furlough.
Have they opened up again yet?
I think so.
Because the latest I've heard is that they might do a kind of when one thing is open, something else will close. In the sense that they're talking about schools when they open up again in September,
Oh,
they
that the
might be
pubs might
closing the
close.
pubs again. And like they can't open
Which,
everything at the same time.
I mean, that just seems a little bit bonkers, if you ask me. I don't see how the two things are related.
Related, yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not like
also teachers need a drink. Maybe
so
more than
then
you know.
than most people.
What I find fascinating actually is they're sending primary school kids and perhaps secondary school kids back in September, but primary's already gone back. But universities haven't reopened. My university hasn't
No,
reopened.
yeah. But there's
I
still
mean, there are things, labs are being reopened, and there's
yeah.
like a rota system, a student was telling me, and you've got to book yourself in, but they're doing experiments, right? And so
Mm,
there already is going to be a lot of safety precaution in place regardless, but I don't know. And then there's talk about, I don't know about you for your job, but there's talk about maybe having a work week where 2 or 3 days a week you go in and the other days you work from home. I mean, this is like in the future,
in the
but
future, yeah.
it just keeps getting put back and back and back and back. So it was when we first started working from home, it was, oh, it's only going to be for 2 weeks. And I snorted in their faces and said, yeah, it's really
It is
correct.
interesting though, the whole working from home thing. Like you saying that, every time there was a government update, our work would then do their own updates, but very
Yes.
much we'll wait and see what the government say, and then we'll be in line with that. And the first time they went against it was when Boris said that he wants people to go back into the office as soon as. And they were
Mm,
like, well, we're not going to do that because your safety's more important. So just carry on the way you are.
mm,
So at the start, it was, maybe end of July. Then it got moved to September. And
mm,
yeah, I mean, they talk about a second peak and they talk about a second peak in like November, December. But what everyone forgets is that the last few years, our winters have been very mild. Like November, December, Christmas time's pretty warm nowadays. If we get a second peak like flu season, that's not going to be until fucking February next year, is it? So, I mean, 2020 is a write-off anyway.
I had such high hopes.
You do every year though, don't you? You go,
No,
this is
I
going to
don't.
be the year.
No, I
This is
don't.
going to be the year. And then it all
No.
fucks up. But I don't
Every
think
year-
anyone predicted this.
No.
You
I
know.
thought it was good. I thought I was gonna, get a new job. And
Yeah. But that's the thing.
I don't know. I just got a pay rise, which is great, of course, and I'm really grateful that I'm employed. Of course I am. But then you're like, oh fuck, it's even less incentive for me to get any job.
Yeah.
Jesus. What I need to do is win the lottery. Keep telling everyone.
How have you found working from home? Because that's new territory. It was certainly new territory for me, and it was something that I always wanted to do.
Overall, it's been fine. My issue with it is that we didn't have the right systems and protocols in place, and so everything's been done ad hoc, and that's been very frustrating.
Yeah.
And like for months, I was told that I was going to get a managed machine, but that didn't happen, and I had to. Luckily, my brother helped me out, and I bought a laptop before we locked down.
Okay.
But if that hadn't happened, I would not be able to work from home. And also, so many of our processes in the office are unfortunately paper-based. And so we've had to radicalize our systems, and that's been very difficult. Also, I find it difficult to listen to people every single day in a meeting. They panic a lot, and it's difficult.
So yours is very different from me because we don't. We
lucky bastard.
Well, no, we're allowed to just crack on with it, and we'll have a meeting up, like a meeting with the team, maybe twice, and that's it. And it will be very fleeting. It will just be to check in, see if everyone's all right, how they're getting on.
I think that some of my colleagues are quite. I think that they were worried that they would lose some sort of social aspect by having to work away from a team.
Yeah.
So it was put in place that every day at 11 we'd have this coffee break, and I find it unhelpful, but it's impolite to not go to it.
Yeah.
Because I've sort of thought about broaching it with like everyone, saying like, I don't want, no offense to you guys, I really like talking to you, they're lovely people, but it breaks up my day in a way that is unhelpful.
Yeah.
I don't really see the value of it, but some of them really need it. I can see that they enjoy it, and
yeah, I mean, I do. I think it's been really good for my mental health, if I'm honest. It's great not having to commute in.
The commute is a
extra
thing.
Yeah. Bit of extra time back. Obviously there's a bit more money there now because you're not paying for a big old commute. But then I've spent that.
You say that, but I'm spending it on something.
DVDs,
wine.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. I have found other stuff to spend it on.
I know. It's like when people say, you could save X amount of money every year if you stop smoking. And it's like, yeah, but how many ex-smokers do you know that are like rolling up in a Ferrari or a fucking Rolls Royce?
They find their
money. You just spend it on something else.
Exactly.
It's so true. You really do.
Yeah.
Nobody I know saves that instead.
No.
You just buy
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been able to save a little bit more, but I still think there's still that mentality of, I've got that there. I might buy that I've always denied about buying. I'll just buy it.
And it has made me know that whatever job it is that I do, I don't want the commute that I've got.
Yeah.
I mean, not this commute. This working from home commute is great, but yeah.
From bed
that's something
to chair.
Yeah. So I must say that what this new commute has done is it's meant that I don't want to spend an hour and a half on the tube or whatever. I mean, it's like an hour door to door, but I think that's too long. No. And so this is now, it's concentrated my efforts, my search terms to be like, nah, it's too far. Nah, that's too far. I've got to change on the tube, get out.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I do miss about the commute is it was a bit of you time to to read or
Yes.
to, do you know what I mean? So now, because you have that extra time at home, you have to find that time to do that. Otherwise, things like, unless you're a big reader or unless
I found
you know,
reading quite difficult.
that's what
I
I mean.
can't concentrate. I can't concentrate on lots of things, actually. You know, we were discussing Netflix and stuff and watching loads of shows. And yes, I do watch loads of shows, but it's not in the same way that I would in real life.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Do you feel like, do you feel that this isn't real life? Is this the real life? Is
you know,
this
it's a good
fantasy?
one day when we're very popular podcast, not just as individual people, the rights that we're going to have to pay.
Surely if we just sing the songs though.
I don't know, you know.
Because I was thinking about this when we did the Dolly Parton one. I was like, oh, can I chuck a little snippet in there of Jolene, Jolene? And I was like, no, it's not worth it, just in case Dolly's listening. in case Dolly's one of the 7 subscribers. Can you imagine? You're like, oh, we've only got 7 subscribers, and one of them turns out to be fucking Dolly Parton or Barack Obama or something. You're like, oh, that's fine. That makes up for everything. Fuck the other 6. You've only got 1 subscriber. Yeah, I know, but it's Dolly Parton. Oh, fine. Crack on.
Do you know what I'm finding quite amusing, I suppose, is I was talking to 2 friends yesterday, one of whom was Kelly, so it's fine. The other one was Hayat, who I talked about a lot in the religion episode. I have warned her. And she said, oh, I didn't know you were doing a podcast. I was like, okay, well, I am doing a podcast with James. She said, well, where can I find it? I said, we are on all platforms.
Yeah. All good podcast
all
platforms.
Good. Yeah, I was like,
we're on
Apple
YouTube
podcast.
Now. On YouTube.
I said YouTube. She said, are you on Spotify? It was like I named like Stitcher,
Spotify,
Acast.
Yeah.
And then it was like the one that I didn't name. She's like, yeah, but are you on Spotify? And I was like, yeah, we're on Spotify. Okay, I'll subscribe. I don't think she did. She said, how can I help? I said, like and subscribe, which is Adam Buxton's thing.
And then she was going, go on.
Go on. No, go on.
No, go on.
We should try and get Adam Buxton on.
Yeah, to say like and subscribe. No, go on.
Oh, mate. Well, because it didn't say like and subscribe, she was like, oh, what do I press? And I was like, I don't use Spotify. I don't know what words they use.
Yeah, but even if it said like and subscribe, if I put that in the blurb.
No, I don't mean that. Because I was saying it to her in person, if you like. No, it wasn't. I was saying to her, like and subscribe. That's what, that would help. That would be great. Thanks. But because the word isn't like and the word isn't subscribe on Spotify.
It's like it's follow or something like that.
Or something, yeah. And I think
we can't fucking spoon feed everything. And that is my point when it comes back to this lockdown thing. Again, not defending the government, but it's such an easy get out for the British public and the world, I guess, to turn around and go, oh, yeah, but they didn't say we could do this, or we didn't say we could do that, or they haven't told us exactly. Do you know what? Surely by now you must know that all of these fucking politicians that are either in power or want to be in power are only in it for themselves or their best friends who have got loads of money. So if you know that, just fucking use your own common sense, because no one's going to tell you what to do.
But common sense isn't common.
Which is quite ironic, really.
I think it's deliberately ironically named.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot.
The lack of...
In my quiet moments.
Yeah. Like when this first happened, you said to me, oh, are you socially distancing? And I said, yeah, always. I was fucking... What annoyed me is one of the first things I said to everyone was, fucking hell, I was socially distancing before.
Such a hipster. Such a hipster.
Came up, and then you see that slogan on fucking t-shirts now, and I'm like, it's mine. I said that, you fuckers. But yeah, and now we're at that. It's eased very much. I'm moving to the fucking countryside because I enjoyed it. I enjoyed not being around people. I like being around people, don't get me wrong. I can't remember what the word was to describe it, but you've described it once. I like being around people, but I also like my own space. And I think I get more out of being around people when it's not constant.
we're very ambivert. That's what
That's
it
right.
is, right? So introversion is,
Very
people
inside yourself.
don't
Yeah,
like being with other,
yeah.
they've got a lot of social
Extrovert is
anxiety and stuff.
obviously,
Extrovert,
whoa,
they
look
get,
at me, I'm
well,
amazing. Hey.
basically
Yeah,
it's all about that sort of personal battery that you have inside,
yeah.
where either you're energized by being with people or you're energized by being alone. I have both. I really enjoy being with people,
Hmm.
but I also need to
Like your
be
own space.
alone.
Yep, yep. And Haley will do it. Haley will say to me, "What's the matter? You seem really quiet today. Like, are you okay?" And like I mean, I'm quite chatty. I'm always singing. I'm not noisy, but I always like to be. I mean, I'll talk to myself. Fuck mine. Like I talk to the cat all the time. But then there'll be a day every now and again where I'm just quiet. I've got nothing to say, and it's almost like I'm just recharging, ready for tomorrow.
Yes, of
And then, do you know what
course.
I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't. And like,
It's funny,
so, oh, you're all right.
I
You seem really miserable. And is something upset you? No, I'm fine. I just haven't got anything to say. There'll be days when I feel like that, and we're in a group of people chatting away, and I'm
no,
the
my
only
friends like that.
one. Yeah, and I'm the only one
I
that's not saying anything. And they're like, "That's not like you. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, today I've just got nothing to say. I'm just listening. I'm fine."
Well,
But I'm
too
genuinely
few
fine though.
people don't shut up when they have nothing to say.
Mm.
Right. I thought when I made the decision to live alone, I thought that I would talk to myself a lot, and I do not
Mm.
at all. I never say anything. Every
Yeah.
now and then I might be watching something and I say, oh, fuck, because some sort of revelation has happened on
Yeah,
the screen.
yeah.
But
But like we
that's
were
it.
saying that time about comedy, that you'll watch at home on your own. You don't laugh at it, but you find it
No,
funny.
I
You
mean,
don't
when
laugh out
something's
loud.
very
Oh,
funny
you do
and I
anyway.
laugh
Yeah,
at,
yeah,
then I go,
yeah,
wow, that was really
yeah,
funny.
yeah, yeah,
Imagine if I was with people.
yeah. I keep wanting to watch Contagion because I think it'd be a good time to watch it, but I might have missed that boat now because
I
unless
watched
we
that
unless
on
we
week
get
one.
I was going to say, unless we get a second peak and everything goes into severe lockdown like it did in March, it's pointless me watching it now because I ain't going
It's
to
a
get
good
this.
film.
If I'm not going to get the same buzz, am I? Like I was thinking, almost like a 4D cinema experience where like things are happening that makes you feel like you're in the film. I thought
Um,
maybe if I watch Contagion and I look outside and like there's no one on the streets, I might be a bit eerie.
Contagion has zero scenes of panic buying toilet paper. It's just pure
Yeah,
fiction.
that died a death very quickly, didn't it?
Toilet paper.
Panic buying toilet paper. People stopped doing
I,
that.
d- I, st- I did I
I
didn't
don't get
understand
it
it at the time, and I
because
continue not to
having the
not
shits
understand it.
isn't a symptom, is it, or something?
No, it's not.
I mean, people went mad when that initially first happened to get your standard groceries and things that you just.
I know.
Oh, it was
I
ridiculous.
know.
Panic buying bollocks. Just absolutely
But panic
unnecessary.
buying
Unnecessary.
has always been unnecessary. Every time it happens, I've always thought, really?
I just don't get it. Like, surely the point of panic buying is because you're worried that other people are going to panic buy. So then, surely the solution is not to panic buy
Correct.
and then just carry on as you
But
are.
I understand why people do it, though, in fairness to them, because
Fear and
that
stupidity.
well, because there is a part of me, when this happens, that I think, oh, should I be doing that too? It's just that I've got so much of a sense of self that I go,
Mm.
nah. But I do appreciate that not everyone is going to have that second thought of, you just get caught up in the panic, literally, of, well, everyone else is doing it. Maybe I should be
Maybe
doing
I
it.
should, yeah.
Maybe I should. Oh, shit. And then, I can imagine that people
Following
who
the
then
herd,
don't, yeah, exactly.
you know.
Anyway, I also note that I've got Google Maps follows me wherever I go and it tells me my timeline.
Yes.
Oh God, this, what I'm going to do at the end of the year, or like when lockdown is eased completely, when we've got a vaccine and everything's back to
Yeah.
whatever normal is, I think it will be really interesting to see like March till whenever it happens,
You
because
did
like
fuck all.
my July activity, I walked for 10 miles and I was in a car for 15 miles. There are months where it's like you
July.
walked. Yeah.
Well, where did you go?
Well, I walked to my parents, which is
Oh,
about
okay.
it's about a mile, I would
Yeah.
say. It's a half mile there, maybe
But
not even that.
Initially, but there's other months where it's like nothing.
No, there are other months where it's, you walked for 126 miles, because I go for 15, 16-mile walks sometimes. I visit, these are my highlights: Peckham Rye, Co-op in Dulwich, and Queen's Park.
Wow. And
So
what about that? And what about the highlights?
that is the highlight. Co-op. I love that it's Co-op. Well, I was flat sitting in it.
What Co-op?
Co-op in Dulwich.
I mean,
I know.
This is what 2020. This is what COVID-19's done. It's just, it's just depressing. If your highlight in your life, if your highlight for the year has been walking to fucking Peckham Rye, you've had a shit 2020. I'll tell you that.
Well, look, right? April looks like the worst one. 6 highlights. And those highlights were parents, and I went to see Leia. I broke curfew.
You didn't tell me about that.
Oh, I think I probably did.
Tell me that you were a fugitive.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of these podcasts is going to be all about when I got arrested. So you do know that I'm a criminal.
I do know. I've heard this story, but you do need to tell it one day. It's what the people want. It's what our subscriber Dolly Parton wants. I do miss, because I'm not a massive London fan, but I do miss the option of not just London, of anywhere, of just going, oh, should we go and do that today? Or should I go and do that? That's what I do miss, the option. Yeah. I would quite happily socially, again, going back to what I was saying to you about, I like my own space, but I do like to be around people as well. But it's almost like it's on my terms. Do you think it can get any worse? To end on a positive, do you think?
Yeah. Of course it can.
Yeah, I mean, at the start, everyone, when everyone was being positive about things and going, oh, new ways of working and new this and that and helping your fellow man, and I hope people learn from it. And I'll be not me being pessimistic, but I was like, they're not. They're going to just, as soon as they can, they're going to go back to being normal. Yeah, we might take a few good things out of it, but people are just going to go back to the way they were and forget.
What I'm hoping, if we continue the comparison to the Second World War, what I'm hoping is that after the Second World War, there was a lot of socio-economic change and a lot of social change, i.e. the welfare state was established, the NHS was established, and it was a bit more about not being a prick. But I do hope that what will happen is we vote for a kinder government and we are a little bit more inclusive. There are conversations that are happening that perhaps wouldn't have been happening, like in America, for example, with against systemic racism, for example, which is, a long overdue conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it interesting that America went from the first black president to Donald fucking Trump?
Yeah.
It's just like completely the opposite, right?
George Floyd and all that. It's such an opposite. Yeah. It's a polar opposite of what, this time, 5 years ago of where America was then. It's such a... It's
a scarier place in a lot of ways. And
it's almost sad. Like we took... It almost feels like we took 2 steps forward and then, fucking 6 steps back, It's so...
I mean, and that's true, isn't it?
But at the same time...
For during the war, right? I mean, that was like Nazism. Jesus Christ, that was crazy. And of course, I mean, that's not a controversial thing to say at all, but the technological advancement that you get from war, for example, does come on in leaps and bounds because of the necessity of it. And I think that if you look at how quickly the global medical communities have come together to work on a cure, and also because they're doing that, they're finding better ways of working, they're finding better ways of utilizing the equipment that they have, and there's better practice, I suppose. All of us are much more conscientious about washing our hands than, I think that in a lot of ways we became a little bit complacent. I think that there will be advances. We work from home in jobs that we didn't really work from home previously. So I think that the work landscape will have to change, has changed, and will continue to change afterwards. And that is exciting, and I think so there are lots of positives that I think will come out of it, I hope, just like there were lots of positives that came out of the Second World War, and hopefully we'll keep them for at least 3 minutes afterwards.
That would be very nice.
Yes, because I do think there'll be new ways of working.
Mm.
There'll be new ways of delivering education. There'll be new ways of supporting people, not economically, but sort of societally, if you like. And by that, I mean, look at how amazing it is. Whatever area I've been to, there have been very concerted efforts in a very broad way to support people to get food bank stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
And everybody has come together to do that sort of thing. There's been a lot more community minded projects that I think that since the 80s have sort of trickled down and down and down and stopped, and now that we're a bit more like, oh, you know what, guys, we are all in this together.
Yeah, and I guess that was my point earlier on about the clapping for the NHS. Yes, it's not going to up their salary or anything like that, but it's still that mentality of
but the thing with the clapping is it's virtue signalling. That's all that was.
Yeah.
You had to be seen to be part of the crew.
Oh, good, yeah.
To be like, because it sort of reminded me of those fucking annoying Facebook things where it's like this if you love your daughter. Oh, fuck off. Like,
I love my daughter. I don't need to like this shit.
Like,
I get that. Yeah.
And if you don't like it, what you're suggesting that you don't love your daughter or your son or your mum or your dad or whatever. Share if you think that racism's bad.
Well, it's the ones that end with, I bet you won't share this. So, no, you're right, I won't.
No, I won't.
I've got more important things to be doing. Actually making it, actually trying to make a difference rather than,
Because that sort of thing is virtue signalling, and I still think tiresome.
Though, it is tiresome, but at the same time, in a world that is very negative, take the good out of that, again, people were doing something just to show an appreciation. We've got a nurse that lives on the street. And
they buy her a cup of tea.
Well, no, but this is what I mean. It wasn't just the clapping. She would see the clapping and she would get quite emotional about it. But it wasn't just the clapping. Like, there'd be other neighbours that every now and again would bring her flowers, make her a cake and stuff,
Yeah, but that's better.
That is better.
Not this communal
clapping.
Basically, this communal mutual masturbation of how good we are. Look at us, we're all clapping.
Yeah,
we're so fucking great.
Yeah,
no,
it's more. I know what you mean. There's a sense of, we're clapping to show how good we are, rather than clapping for support.
I understand that. It was just, and that's not to say that I disagree with why people were doing it. I just think there are better things that people could be doing. And then when they stopped it, the woman that started it, she said, I only wanted to do it for 10 weeks. And then
you want to get
I'm on this this app called Nextdoor, and I'm only on it because it's fucking hilarious. And
is it like a community app or something?
Yeah, it's sort of, in every community you basically put your postcode in and it just puts all of these people together. Anyway, it's like Facebook but for your neighbours.
Sounds horrible.
It's hilarious, James. Oh my god, you must download it just for the crack. I mean, it's just so fun. So the first week after the lady had said, this is the end, we did 10 weeks, that's all I ever wanted. This guy wrote this message saying, oh, I noticed there's very few people out clapping, and all these comments were like, we're not doing it anymore. And then somebody be like, oh, well, on such and such a road, we were all out doing it. I'm like, all right, well, give yourself a pat on the fucking back.
Yeah, give yourself a clap.
And for about 3 or 4 weeks, there was every Thursday or Friday morning that I checked it, there'd be these like barrage of, oh, I noticed that the clap's dying down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we're not doing it anymore.
Yeah. Well, there was always this kind of uncomfortableness about when to stop. So you'd go out there and you start clapping, and you're like waiting for the first person to go in, and but they're waiting for you to go in. So
this is what I mean. Anyway, I wasn't a fan of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I didn't disagree with the motive. No. But I disagreed with the thing, like.
Yeah.
And then I walk around, because I walk to my mum and dad's now.
The rainbows. So
I walk through. Oh, fucking hell.
Just something to do, innit?
and like, we're proud of our NHS heroes. Oh, shut up.
We've always been
Shut
proud of
up.
our NHS heroes.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
Why
not
do you need to
us. You
put
need
that
to
shit in
fucking
your
convince.
window?
It's not us. You need to convince.
You need to stop
I know
voting
it's
for
a
that
show.
particular
Yeah,
party.
I know it's a show of support and a show of solidarity. I get that, but there's a lot more. I do agree with you. There is a lot more that needs to be done than clapping and drawing rainbows. I mean, I thought rainbows was a gay thing, so I just thought everyone was.
I know. I mean, what are the? They were
Pride.
like pride.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny that it is so synonymous in my mind with gay pride that
Well,
I do walk along and I think, oh, NHS.
Well, I can imagine how you feel was probably how leprechauns felt about 20 years ago. First of all, it got stolen by the gays, and now
it's the
NHS heroes.
No
have
wonder
stolen
leprechauns
it,
are so angry.
But then they've got a pot of gold, so they shouldn't be fucking complaining.
And don't they eat Lucky Charms?
They should be donating some of this gold to the NHS.
These fucking leprechauns.
Yeah,
that's the Irish for you.
Yeah, they just go to America and set up their own fucking bar.
Yeah, leprechauns are funny. Did you ever watch
I don't
Preacher?
think you're allowed to say that anymore.
Well, hopefully
that sigh you just did.
Yeah, that's the end.
That's the sound of 2020.
Isn't it just?
It's not just been about Corona. It's 2020.
No, I know. I mean, that's the thing is we started with bushfires. Who knows what we're fucking ending with? Beirut blew up.
Like the whole pandemic thing's obviously become just because it's been going on for a while now, and people are getting used to a different way of life. It has become just secondary now, isn't it?
So I rang up TfL the other day because I approve student Oyster cards. Anyway, so I ring up to say, oh hi, I need to tell you my new IP address. This woman says to me, applications are closed for August, which I'm aware of. So I was like, okay, I thought maybe we could do it anyway, but okay, that's fine. And then she said, because we're all working from home. I said, yes, I know, but I mean, this happens every year, this closing for August thing. I know. Well, I'm just saying, I think you'll find it very difficult to get hold of anybody because we're working from home. I was like, yeah, no, I know. I'm also working from home. Isn't it interesting? She said, 3 different people that I know, 3, right? Not 2, 3. I'm like, yeah. They've all been tested for coronavirus and each of them, the test has come back inconclusive. Isn't that interesting? And I'm not saying it's a conspiracy theory. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is isn't it interesting? And I said, that is interesting. But, like maybe if they administered it themselves, they might have, done it not quite right. I don't know. And she said, I'm not saying Boris Johnson's doing a bad job because I think it's really difficult. And to be fair to him, I think he's done really well. And I was like, at this point, looking at my phone, like, what on earth is happening? And so I go, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not a fan though. And I'm just saying, she said, isn't it funny how all of the deaths that are happening, whatever you died from, they're saying it's COVID related? And I said, well, that's not true because I know a couple of people who've died and that's not what's been said on their death certificate because that's not what they died from. And she was like, oh, well, everybody that I know I know people that have died in this period and all of them are saying COVID. So anyway, you're saying that I can't update my IP address. Is that right? Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, okay. So maybe call back like in a week. I was like, I'll try on the 1st of September when it reopens. It's fine. Thank you. Bye. 20 minutes she was on the phone.
I would have said, could you assure me that you won't be personally handling my query at all?
I can't even tell you.
The human race, ladies and gentlemen. Okay,
thank you. Good night. Yeah. Oh, mate.
Oh, Lordy. What you got planned for the rest of the weekend?
I'm seeing Mead tomorrow because she's going to the States for a month.
Oh, is she?
Maybe longer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Are you going to like park, or are you actually?
Yeah, no, we're going to go to the park. And then
Um,
Saturday, I'm going to meet someone for a coffee and Lisa.
Oh, so you are
And
going to
then,
go out?
yeah, well,
That's cool though.
I
Give it a
might.
go. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's fine.
I think you just do what makes you feel comfortable now. It's pointless listening to what you can and can't do
Oh, I gave up.
because it's all incoherent bollocks anyway. So
Exactly. I gave up when it was the go in but don't, stay at
Yeah.
home but don't stay at home, and go out
Yeah.
but don't.
What was the
and
last
then
one?
Shake it all about.
It was hands, face, space.
What?
Did you not see it when
Really?
he did the last
No.
pause? So when he was talking, when they went, when they did the pause on lockdown easing.
Yes.
So he ended the conference by going, hands, space, get a test. That was it. But he smiled after he did it. It says hands, space, get a test. And then he did this little cheeky smile. And I was saying, I bet you any money, like his advisors, before he went on, he's like, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. And they're like, no, Boris,
don't say
no,
it.
honestly, it's not a good slogan. Don't say it. It was just a joke during the meeting. Just, no, honestly, don't say it. Okay, I won't say it.
All right, I won't
Right,
say
I'll
it.
leave it. And then by the end of it, he's just like, no, I'm going to say it. Hands, face.
I think you're
face.
probably right.
Get a test. And they're all in the background like, for fuck's sake, why didn't he just stick to the fucking line?
This has been a Head Full of Straw production of Vicky Goes On and On with Vicky Stokes and James Wells.
Fucking Zoom, they've changed it. So every time there's a waiting room, I don't want a waiting room. I just want people to fucking join.
But what if they are Nazis?
Why would I be inviting Nazis to my Zoom party?
No, but they hack in, and I don't know.
The Zoom Nazis. Are they
Nazis.
actual Nazis though, or are we just calling, like you're a fun Nazi? Are they
No.
Nazi of a different...
I meant real Nazis.
Oh, okay. Well.
You know those American ones,
the ones that the Blues Brothers managed to drive off of the bridge.
Well, they didn't, did they? Because they're back. They're back in 2020. Nazis are back. The plague is back.
Yeah, but the Blues
basically 2020 is just like a weird reboot of all the bad
2020, yeah. I mean, and then just when you think it couldn't get any worse, there was that fucking
Beirut
Lebanon
blows
thing.
up.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, someone's taking the piss.